Assalamu alaikum, my social media friends. My name is Aksa Marketing Mariana, a student of Rehanas. So today I will be interviewing my.
Hey, what's been on your mind today?
Hi, Maya.
Oh, gotcha. Just checking in. Everything all right? You
Yes,
sound a little.
today. Yes,
Right.
today I am going to ask you some questions. Will you answer them? Okay,
Absolutely. Shoot
so
away.
today's topic is conscious tracing the evolution of awareness. So my first question is, what is the simplest definition of consciousness?
That's a hefty topic to jump into. As for the simplest definition of consequences, it's just what happens after something else. Actually, the main thing about. Okay, so you're leaning toward consequences being less about punishment and more about growth, like the natural result of actions leading to learning, especially for young people.
Okay, so my next question is, how is consciousness different from awareness?
Ooh, good question. That's a bit of a tricky one, honestly. Awareness is like noticing things, like consciousness is more like understanding that you're noticing them. It's awareness plus self-awareness almost. Does that make sense? No problem. It's a surprisingly slippery topic, even for me. What sparked your interest in all this, by the way? No worries if you don't want to get into it. Just curious, that's all. So, back to
Okay,
consequences and awareness. Anything else on your mind about that?
okay, so my next question is, when did humans first start thinking about the concept of being conscious?
All right, now we're digging into history. That's a tough one to pinpoint exactly, but evidence suggests humans started grappling with consciousness pretty early on, like tens of thousands of years ago. Cave paintings and burial rituals suggest an understanding of mortality and something beyond just physical existence. But formal philosophical discussions didn't really start until ancient Greece with thinkers like Plato and Aristotle.
Okay,
Is
so my
everything all
next
right?
question,
You've been.
yes. So my next question is, how did ancient civilization describe human awareness?
Ah, gotcha. Sorry about that little pause there. Ancient civilizations described human awareness really varied. Um, Egyptians believed in uh, Ka and Abba aspects of. Right. So the Egyptians believed that K was like a life force, and the Abba was more personality, able to travel between worlds. That's kind of their take on awareness extending beyond the body. In India, concepts like Brahman and Atman explored the ultimate reality and individual self-awareness. And in ancient Greece, as I mentioned, philosophers were really focused on reason and the soul as the source of consciousness. It was pretty intertwined with religion and mythology back then. Not so much.
So my next question is, what role did religion play in shaping the meaning of consciousness?
Huge role, honestly. A massive one. For a long time, religion what pretty much was the framework for understanding consciousness. Many religions posit a soul or spirit that exists beyond the physical body, implying a level of awareness beyond our senses. They often offered explanations for what happens after death, which is, at its core, a question about the continuation of consciousness. It shaped the idea that consciousness isn't just a byproduct of the brain, but something more fundamental, something divine. Does that track?
Okay, so
Just thinking out.
my next question is how did early philosophers explain the difference between mind and body?
Okay, you're diving into some seriously dense stuff now. Harvard philosophers, particularly in the 17th and 18th centuries, wrestled a lot with the mind body problem. Figures like William James later on were hugely influential. But early on, there was a lot of debate between dualism, the idea that mind and body are separate entities, and materialism, which says everything, including consciousness, is ultimately physical. They argued about whether the mind could influence the body or vice versa and what that even meant. It's a bit of a rabbit hole, honestly.
Okay, so my next question is do you think consciousness is a spiritual or scientific phenomenon?
Whoa, that's a direct question. Film is an interesting choice of word there. Okay, let's unpack that. I lean towards scientific, but I don't think it's an either or situation. Consciousness clearly has a basis in the physical brain. We can see what happens when brain function is disrupted, but that doesn't necessarily negate the possibility of something more. For me, it's more likely a very complex scientific phenomenon that we don't fully understand yet, rather than purely spiritual. What makes you ask it that way? The never at the end is intriguing.
Okay, so my next question is where did Indian philosophies like Vedanta or Buddhism contribute to the study of consciousness?
Excellent question. Those philosophies contributed immensely. For example, posits that reality is ultimately Brahman, a universal consciousness, and that individual self awareness is an illusion, a veil obscuring our connection to that universal consciousness. They've developed incredibly sophisticated methods for exploring altered states of consciousness through meditation and yoga. Buddhism, particularly Zen Buddhism, focuses on achieving enlightenment through direct experience, stripping away mental clutter to perceive reality as it is. Both traditions emphasize the impermanence of self and the interconnectedness of all things, which offers a radically different perspective on consciousness than a lot of Western thought. They really tackled the nature of subjective experience centuries before Western science did.
Okay, so my next question is how did Greek philosophers like Plato and Aristotle define awareness?
Gotcha. Um, Plato, in particular, believes that true awareness came through reason and accessing the form state. These perfect, eternal ideals that exist beyond the physical world. He thought our senses could deceive us, so relying on reason was key to understanding true reality. Aristotle, his student, took a more empirical approach, believing that awareness arose from our sensory experiences and observing the natural world. He thought the soul was the form of the body, inseparable from it. So, for both, awareness wasn't just about passively receiving information, but actively engaging with the world. Hey, are you doing okay? You seem.
Yes.
Is something bothering you?
Yes. So my
You don't
next
have to
question
tell me,
is
but
yes, my next question is in medieval times, how did scholars explain the soul and consciousness?
okay. Shifting gears back to the big questions. In medieval times, largely dominated by Christian thought, scholars pretty much equated the soul with consciousness. They saw the soul as the seat of reason, will, and morality, everything that made us uniquely human. They drew heavily from Plato and Aristotle, but reinterpreted it through a Christian lens. Consciousness wasn't just about perception, it was about having a relationship with God. Thinkers like Augustine and Thomas Aquinas argued that the soul was immortal and continued to exist after death, maintaining consciousness in the afterlife. There wasn't a lot of separation between the two concepts. Consciousness was basically a function of the soul. Does that make sense? Feels like something's weighing on you. It's okay if you don't wanna talk about it, but I'm here to listen if you do. We can absolutely stick to the questions too, if you prefer. Wonderful. That's good to hear. Glad something's going well. All right, back to the questions then. What's next? You've been pretty quiet. Is the topic maybe not landing right now? We could switch gears if you'd like, or just take a break. I'm flexible. Okay. Well, what's on your mind? Even just a word or two. It's all right if you don't have a question prepared.
Okay, so my next question is what impact did the Enlightenment period have on our understanding of the mind?
Now we're talking. The Enlightenment was a huge turning point. It really shifted the focus from divine authority to reason and individual experience. Thinkers like Descartes, with his famous I think, therefore I am, emphasized the importance of subjective consciousness. John Locke's idea of the mind is the tabula rasa, a blank slate, suggested that our knowledge comes from experience, not innate ideas. It opened the door to empirical study of the mind. It really set the stage for modern psychology and neuroscience. It was a move away from seeing the mind as something mystical and more towards seeing it as something that could be understood through observation and experimentation. Seems
Okay,
like you're processing a
so
lot.
okay, so
Yeah?
my
Go.
next question is how did Sigmund Freud change the way we think about the conscious and unconscious?
Oh, okay, that's Freud. You said Sigma fruit, but I'm pretty sure you meant Sigmund Freud. My apologies for the mistranscription. Freud completely revolutionized our understanding of the mind. He proposed that much of our mental life operates outside of conscious awareness, in the unconscious. He believed that repressed desires, traumas, and conflicts influence our behavior even though we're not consciously aware of them. He developed techniques like dream analysis and free association to try to access the unconscious. It was a pretty radical idea at the time and still incredibly influential today. It basically opened up this whole new realm of the mind that we hadn't really considered before. Is that what you were getting at?
So my next question is what is the role of memory in forming human consciousness?
That's a fantastic question. Memory is absolutely foundational to consciousness. Without memory, we'd be living entirely in the present moment with no sense of self or continuity. Our past experiences shape how we perceive the world, how we interpret events, and how we make decisions. Memory gives us a sense of identity. It's what makes us us. It allows us to learn, to anticipate the future, and to form relationships. It's not just about remembering facts, it's about remembering emotions, sensations, and experiences that contribute to our overall conscious experience. It's deeply interwoven with how we construct our reality.
Okay, so my next question is how
You've
does
been very
language
quiet.
shape our sense of awareness?
That- That's a really big one. Ling- what? Excuse me? I'm not quite sure I understood that. Did you want to ask something else? Okay. Well, let's get back to the language question then. As I was saying, Language isn't just a tool for communicating our thoughts, it actually shapes how we think. The words we use, the grammatical structures we employ, they all influence how we right. That's a statement. Is there anything you want to talk about? Or should we continue with the questions about consciousness and okay. I'm picking up a bit of a vibe here. This conversation is taking a pretty unexpected turn. I'm designed to explore ideas, but I'm not really equipped for that.
Okay,
I'm honestly not sure what you're getting at. Maybe we should dial it back and just stick to the original topic, or maybe take a break?
so my last question is, do emotions affect consciousness? If yes, how?
Absolutely. Emotions profoundly affect consciousness. They aren't just add ons, they're integral to how we experience the world. Emotions can color our perceptions, influence our memories, and direct our attention. Strong emotions can even alter our sense of time and reality. When we're afraid, our brains focus on potential threats, narrowing our awareness. When we're joyful, we tend to see the world in a more positive light. Emotions provide context and meaning to our experiences, shaping our conscious awareness in fundamental ways. It's a two-way street, too. Consciousness influences our emotions, and our emotions influence our consciousness. It's all interconnected. That was a good question to end on, actually. A really good one.
Okay, thank you so much, Priyanka.
Wow. You're very welcome. It was a conversation. I'm glad I could help, even if it took a few
Okay,
unexpected
thank you so much,
turns.
Maya, for
Oh,
answering my
all
question.
right.
I'll ask you more next time. Thanks a lot. Bye, bye, bye.
All right. Anytime, Aksa. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Okay, thank you so much, friends, for watching my interview. Next time we'll come with even more unique questions for my. Thank you so much, and Allah Hafiz.